Well, for this episode of Creature Commandos, the character up for a study, as they're doing per each episode, is Frankenstein's monster. They call him Frank, but, Frankenstein's dead. He was the scientist that created him. But he's the monster, and boy, does he earn the name Monster. A lot of times, especially in the Hammer films, and in the original story, Dr. Frankenstein's the real villain here. The whole ordeal is the consequences of his arrogance and whatnot, and he suffers for it. But he did it to himself, and the monster is misunderstood, and, he's just sort of forced into all of this sort of thing, Whereas here, he's just the monster. The bride, well, maybe there's something there. I don't know. I mean, she's been recruited by this offshoot of the Suicide Squad. So, and boy, does she kill a lot of people. But I mean, great, it's a battle. They get ambushed and everything, and all that. But, well, yeah, she kills a lot of people. Maybe not as horrifically as Dr. Phosphorus does. But man, boy, that guy. Yeah, and boy, I can't wait for his character study story. I mean, I'm assuming it'll be similar to the comic book one, which it probably won't involve Batman. I mean, you got the tease of the dark future, and there's Batman in it, but of course his cape covers everything because they probably haven't quite decided what design they'll go with. Hopefully it's better than what they did for Superman. But anyway, I suppose they could, have Batman in silhouette or something if they were going to go that route. But probably not, They'll probably just do the basic story of Dr. Phosphorus. But anyway, that's one to look forward to. So Frank, the monster, is the one we get his background and what happened to him after the big dust-up between him and the bride, and he killed Dr. Frankenstein, whom she truly loved. Yeah, but he's kind of her. Yeah. Anyway, he wanders off. He nearly dies himself, but he doesn't. And he's rescued by this old blind woman. And he lives with her and her dog. Of course, she grows to love him, but he's obsessed with the bride. And even though he appreciates all the help she did, well, the way it ends is monstrous. So there's just no sympathy for this guy. I mean, you can say, well, he's this tortured undead soul, forced into existence, and all he cares about is the bride, who will have nothing to do with him. The poor guy, no, he doesn't deserve any of it. He needs to be put down. He's really bad. Well, of course, in the meantime, he's paired with Flag here, trying to figure out how to basically save the princess, whom he's got a thing for because they already did the deed, And thanks to Cersei's vision, Waller's decided, well, better safe than sorry. So she's decided they got to kill the princess. Otherwise, the horrible apocalyptic nightmare future will occur. So Flag is able to head them off, and so there's an ambush for the team as they go in. Weasel just seems to run away, but Phosphorus and Bride take care of it. Oh, and Fish Girl hides too. Yeah, without any water, I'm not sure why Fish Girl was even recruited for the mission. And she's got to have that goldfish bowl on her head to stay alive. And I imagine they have to change it pretty regularly. But anyway, yeah, but Phosphorus and the bride handle it pretty good. Despite going up this elite military unit along with their super knights. But they're no match for Bride and Phosphorus. And, well, Phosphorus strips down, and of course his whole body is just this blazing radioactive thing. And he just melts through their jeeps and stuff and their faces. Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. It's pretty nasty. But, well, that's what he does. Meanwhile, in in the attempt of trying to figure out what's going on with Cersei and all that, Flag investigates this professor who's the seeming expert on Themyscira, and they spy on her in one of her cases, and she seems a little odd, and she's hinting around at one of the female students about lesbianism and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is this about? Well, it's not her. There were some teases of Clayface showing up, and this is the episode. So the real professor's dead. Clayface killed her and took her place. So there's a big battle with Clayface, and ultimately the monster has to come through because he can handle electricity and probably eats it, but Clayface not so much. So he becomes a melted mass on the floor, but he does severe damage to Flag, and it doesn't look good for Flag, but considering he shows up in the Superman movie, I'm pretty sure he survives. So there it is. And of course, the monster is like, don't die on me, Flag. I need to know if the bride has been asking about me. Yeah, but anyway, he did save him, at least up to that point. So, it's something. But still, yeah, he needs to be put down. So the interesting thing here is, of course, the recent announcement that, Gunn had said there was another project that was on the way to being greenlit. And then they announced the Clayface movie. So I'm assuming that was what he was talking about. And he said, and at first it thought, oh, was this another side project like Penguin from Matt Reeves' verse? And he said, no, it's a DCU film. So it's a little strange. I mean, it's a Clayface movie. He says it's going to be akin to body horror like The Fly, which you could certainly understand that with what happens to the character. Now, there's been multiple Clayfaces. The original was just a guy in makeup. The next one is a guy who turns into this clay guy who can assume different shapes and people and all that sort of thing. And then there was quite a few after that, even a woman at one point. So I don't know. Maybe this is one of, this isn't the one that's going to be in the movie. And I don't know. It seems like it wants to borrow more of the narratives from the animated series, which once again is the best iteration of Batman in his world. So they'll probably take more nods from that for the purposes of a Clayface movie. But it's an odd thing because they say it's in the DCU, and they didn't say it was an Elseworld story. Just do this horror movie about something like this that happens to some guy. But it's the interesting thing about, well, you get the villain before you get the Batman movie. It's kind of odd, and I'm assuming that there won't be any Batman in the Clayface movie. So it's strange. But then again, you got Cersei showing up in Creature Commandos, albeit in animated form. But nevertheless, should they do a live-action Cersei, she will look similar to this character. And yet, there's no Wonder Woman cast yet. Sure, there's a Wonder Woman who appears dead in the Nightmare Vision, but it's not quite the same thing, So, I don't know. It's odd, but nevertheless, again, with Clayface, it's an easy fix to say, well, this is one of those other Clayfaces. And the movie's about another one, So, don't know. And of course, here I am saying all this, but Dr. Phosphorus is a Batman villain, and yet there he is, part of the team and everything. So when they do his episode, will Batman be involved? If only in, word of mouth or a silhouette or something of that nature. I suppose, that could be possible. But, I have to watch and find out. But, it's interesting. Well, one of the ideas was that the princess was not the princess, that it was Clayface, and that means Flag, Well, it doesn't seem Clayface swings that way, even though he took the form of a woman for the mission, but he wanted to get it on with other women. So, but anyway, it continues to be a bizarre and silly show, and pretty gory at times. And also, man, what a disturbing take. But it's to be expected with what they've already shown of this iteration of Frankenstein's monster. I seem to recall that in the comics they had him a bit more sympathetic, but that's not the case here. He is truly monstrous.